There's a little-known affliction that impacts 50 million Americans. You may have it, even if you haven't heard of it. It's the hearing of sound when no sound is present. It can be ringing or a consistent tone. Sometimes it's thumping, whooshing, or even voices or music. Each of those 50 million people suffer in isolation, unable to describe the noises they hear to friends and family. We wanted to help them feel a little less alone. So the team from Lipo-Flavonoid brought together 4 people and had them meet with an Emmy Award-winning foley artist, someone who makes sound effects for TV and movies, to recreate the sounds they hear. Call it tinnitus, call it tinnitus. Just don't call it trivial.
My name is Marco Costanzo. I make sound effects. I'm a foley artist. It sounded like a really interesting concept, and to be part of it, I'm thrilled. And it's interesting because, you know, you're trying to get inside someone's head, but we watch a film on the screen, we're trying to match that exact sound all the time. But we usually get a little sound cue. Here, you're doing it from someone's head, and I was amazed that they said, yes, that's the note.
Yeah, right about there.
In this area.
That's mine.
Is that yours?
Yeah.
We hope to shine a little light on the subject, to bring awareness, to make their stories heard.
There is no such thing in my life as quiet. And I think that's the best way I can define what this is.
We also brought in a renowned audiologist.
There are so many causes of tinnitus.
2 cycles into the treatment of chemo is when my ears started ringing. And
I have Usher syndrome, type 3. Usher syndrome is the leading genetic cause of deafblindness in the US and around the world.
My first experience with tinnitus is, I guess every day, going to the club.
And the response to it is never the same.
My reaction was this had to be a sinus infection, a cold, something other than what it actually was.
you don't realize that you have hearing loss at the time.
It's almost like if somebody was going like this to you, and it didn't matter how many times you told them to stop or to leave you alone, only it's in your mind.
It's like, oh man, I do have this one thing. I have an occasional ring.
We then played the sounds Marco had created for them for the group to hear and react to. And the group talked about their experiences out in the open.
If I'm in a quiet setting or moderate quiet setting, I would try to figure out exactly, do you guys hear this? Do you hear the same thing that I'm hearing?
Well, and it sounds so real. That's the part that makes you feel like you're going crazy.
You get into that debate with yourself. Is this real? I'm hoping it's outside, and then no one else is hearing it.
It's so important. Part of me wanting to do this was not just to explain to people who don't have hearing loss or who don't experience this to get a sense of what it's like, but for people who do experience it to know that they're not alone.
And I think a project like this, to see how many different faces of tinnitus there really are and what different solutions and management techniques that they're using is so helpful. It's just so important that if you ever have any type of hearing sensation, head noise, tinnitus, ringing, hissing, any noise that is out of the norm, please go seek professional help.
In a world that's louder by the day, it's our hope that through increased awareness, we can help everyone understand what it's like to live with tinnitus and encourage those who suffer from it to seek help. If you suffer from tinnitus, consider taking the Lipo-Flavonoid 60-Day Challenge.